of YouTube and the World of Tanks community. How are we all doing today? We're here discussing or having a look at the new update for the 3.5, which has been called War of Nations. Specifically, this is just looking at the actual update that's going through. There is another tab up at the very top discussing the vehicle changes, and I will make that into a separate video because there are lots of nerfs and buffs. So that should be a lot of fun to have a look at. The first thing we're going to be looking into is the vehicle physics. This is the updates towards tanks that can flip over on top of each other. As you can see, I've already looked at the video, so I will go back on itself so you can actually have a look. This is a snakebite having a look. If you do go fast enough, if you do find yourself going towards an edge, try not to do this because you will turn your tank over. In this case, because they're going fast enough, yes, do lose a bit of health, you can flip over and get yourself back on track and going again. Unfortunately, there may be cases where you can't, so you will be able to flip your tank back over after a certain amount of time if you don't get any help from any nice people on World of Tanks who can push you along. The other one that's coming through is a more realistic look at how tanks can move on the map. So we're looking at E100 going towards one of the dead tanks. This has been one of the tanks themselves in the game. I don't know if this will be a tank if it's physically dead, i.e. you've killed it, but this is one in the game whereby it won't move and it's already there, and you can see it rolls straight over the top of it, trying to be nice and normal. They're calling that basically being suspensions now full of react with the terrain. This is an example here of the tank that's flipped over and you can't physically get over yourself, so you can either have someone to push you or help you. In other case, it'll just be the fact that you'll have to wait 10 seconds and then you can get yourself back up. One of the other features that they're putting into the game is a new handbrake option that allows you to perform new maneuvers. This will be available in light tanks, in mediums and in heavies, and will allow you to do really nice sharp turns. I expect to see some people in light tanks doing some handbrake turns around the artillery, dodging the shot as it's going through, popping a couple into him and removing the artillery from the game. Unfortunately, this will not be available in tank destroyers or artillery, but they will have the feature of being able to stop both tracks rather than just one in the middle of the game. Any of you eagle-eyed people will have noticed something slightly different with the minimap, apart from the fact it's not the good minimap, it's the terrible one. This is, aside from the new map variants, updated tactical minimap. So we're getting some features which the PC players have, this being a case of your auto-detect range, which is your 50 meters, your standard one, the one you'll already see now. The maximum range, number 2, which you can physically see here, is how far you'll be spotted if someone is within that circle if you're out in the open. Things such as bushes, buildings, etc. will cause that to actually be less, but it won't physically show you. It will just base it off your camouflage of your tank. Then we've got the actual white line going down the middle, number 3, and number 4. Gun direction line is where it follows your vehicle's guns deploying. It's basically showing you where it's pointed. This itself is already in the game where you've got the gun line pointing all the way to the end of the map. The only difference here is that it's shortened to the effective range of your actual loaded ammunition. Depending on which one you've got will depend on how far that line goes. Won't actually give you an indication towards penetration or anything like that. That itself will remain sort of secret. And the view range cone displays the vehicle's view range and angle, which is controlled by the camera itself. The end of the cone is the maximum view range that you can have. It will adjust as you switch from normal view to sniper view, and it expands if you have binos actually mounted. It doesn't go into too much detail with this, so I can't say for sure if the arc, because I would assume if that's how it is when you're in an arc, whether it is you're actually out and about, so you can see all your tank itself. I don't know how well it will work, or if it does work in terms of what your gun arc actually is. So how far you can look left, how far you can look right. So you can see the white line in the middle. Maybe if it was fixed turret tank destroyers, for example, would have a narrower cone. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. It will be quite interesting to have a look, and if it doesn't, it would be a nice feature to add. The next update that we're looking at is the tank gallery view. Whilst I haven't seen this much of a problem myself, I'm able to see the tank as it is. You will have an option of being able to view your tank in the garage without the HUD, without all the information on the sides, what tanks you've got, etc. And you can move it in just to look at your tank in all its glory. Maybe if you wanted to take a nice screenshot, you can do. It's very easy to do. And maybe it will look nice if you want to use it as a wallpaper on your PC or Mac. The download sizes, relatively okay for people on a decent internet connection. If not, I would say get downloading it and wait a couple of days and you'll be done. Xbox 360 obviously having a slightly less updated need, so to speak, compared to the other consoles, but still relatively large. The rest of the information down below is pretty much the notes of what we've already discussed on top, and I will be placing this as a link in the description. There is a couple of other things to look into. So whilst they are doing like a rain and war variants of some of the maps and HDRs to go with them, as well as some improvements to the way in which things happen in the game or actual physical items in the game, very much to how they remove some features or buildings, rocks, etc., debris is a nice way of putting it on N-Square. They're doing very, very similar things to that. But one of the things at the very, very bottom is the improved kill feed. Now, there are a lot of complaints with regards to people saying, it's not very much use you telling me what tank has just been killed on my own team or on the enemy team. What I want to see is what tank has killed him. Primarily, you're not too interested on your tank killing someone. Yes, it's ideal knowing what exactly they've been in, but it kind of worked for the old one, because if you knew that a tank, if you were down to say 4v4, and the tanks were pretty much spread out on their team, maybe there was a tank destroying cover, and he shot and killed one of your tanks, you know what that tank is because you can see it on the kill feed. You can see roughly where he might be. You might get an indication from your own team if the guy isn't spotted. You can get a better idea of where he is because of what your teammate's done to die, whereas before it could be absolutely anywhere and you won't know where he is. So we'll like to see how that works out. Maybe it'll be the case of the tank that's killed has killed this tank. So we'll wait and see for that. There are a lot of bug fixes that are going through. Again, there are, like I say, so much of them that you will have to have a look at the thread itself and see which ones are linked to ones that either you've had issues with, you know about, you've had other people with having problems with them. Maybe you've not noticed any of them at all, but there will be slight changes to it. And we're just going through, again, just some slight rear changes or slight changes to the way in which tanks look, along with some of their actual names and some of the other things within the map itself, i.e. Runeberg War removed a plane prop. That's the kind of stuff that I mean, like when they had Ensk War. And that pretty much covers it for the current 3.5 War of Nations update. I will also link below into the next video for the vehicle changes that are coming through. Again, that video will be relatively long and I'll try and pick up on the main tanks in question, my own opinions on them and what you think to them. But if you did like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you guys later.